Well, hello, my friends. It has been a little bit of time since we've hung out together. Although, to be honest, I could have recorded an episode last week and still feel like it's been forever since we've hung out together. It's been a kind of crazy October. I was stunned to find that it was October 19th yesterday. So here we are. It's October 20th. There's 11 days left in the month. And yeah, it's good. I'm loving the fall. I am just fresh off a run. If I sound a little breathy, I do apologize. I don't apologize for being breathy, but I do apologize if you're kind of like, Amy, WTF. However, this episode is not titled Revelations from the Trails, even though it could be. But I wanted to title it Beware the Squishers and Stealers. And you might be wondering what I'm talking about. I had a very interesting conversation with a very long time friend of mine. Someone who's been in my life since I was very, very young. They're a few years younger than me. So sometimes they come to me for some insight or help. And they were sharing an idea that they had and wanted to know what did they need to pull together in order to bring this idea to fruition. So we talked about the logistics, and we talked about like all the normal things you could find on Google or any business podcast or whatever. And then the conversation trended off into some more self-reflective things. As I paid attention to what my friend was saying to me, I realized they have some real big patterns in their life that wasn't supporting them. So then we got to talking about what that would look like. And you know, I encouraged them to do some deep work and journal on it, kind of think on it and feel through it. Don't think through it. If you are like most, your default is to think through something instead of stopping, pausing, breathing, and feeling into it. Here's why feeling into it is super important. So a few weeks ago, I had an issue with my car. Again. My car has been kind of a headache for me the last year. And I had to get it towed into the shop. And what was quite interesting is that when it got to the shop and they actually took a look at it, they couldn't find anything wrong. They couldn't replicate the problem that I had to have it towed in. They couldn't find out I had an oil leak. They couldn't figure out where nothing was leaking. They said, I don't know what's happening, but everything looks fine. But the time before that I had been in there getting some repairs done, the person at the counter, as they were taking my payment, mentioned to me about I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something about like, it's time to up level. How about we get you into the next version of this, like the next sport model? And I laughed at the time and said, I'm still paying for this one. Like, I don't think now's the right time to get a new car. Then, you know, fast forward, I think it's 10 days later, I'm back there and I'm just like, okay, talk to me. Tell me what you're thinking. Like, what's your thoughts on what vehicles are out there? Because I don't know. So we talked a bit, gave me some insight, and then I spent a week researching. And I kind of was thinking, I'm like, I just don't know if I should be buying a car right now. Like, it doesn't seem very logical for me to do that. You know, I've put a lot into this car that I owned, and very aware of the sunk cost fallacy. So throwing more money at it isn't necessarily going to fix it. But there was something deeper that wasn't coming to light, but I could just feel it. I could feel this something deeper sitting under the surface, waiting to be discovered. So I spent a week researching vehicles, and I shortlisted to 3. And then on the Saturday, we went to the dealership to go test drive them. Now, historically, every time I've walked into a dealership in the city I live in, I've been treated like dirt. It's astounding. I don't even want to go into the stories, but it's astounding. So on this Saturday, my boyfriend and I, we go to the dealership. I'm fully expecting it's going to be the same experience I've had every time I've ever walked into a dealership. And it wasn't. In fact, the salesperson was very friendly and very respectful, not pressuring in any way, gave me the facts, just was honest and forthright, like literally was everything I want in a person that I'm dealing with in business. It was astounding. So we left the dealership, and now I was really like, damn, I don't know what to do here. I'd been setting the intention for the 2 weeks prior for ease and expansion. And this is why that's important. Of the vehicles that I test drove, the minute that I stepped into one of them, I got in and I just had this like feeling of like being able to breathe. Like, well, that's interesting. Then we take it out for a test drive and we're out on the highway. And as I look out the windows and the vehicle has a big sunroof and like has amazing visibility. And I just heard expansion like ripple through my brain. And I was like, oh my God, this is the feeling that I've been setting the intention for, but this is not how I thought the feeling was going to manifest. I just wanted expansiveness in my life, right? I didn't think it was going to manifest in this. So I then spent the next 24 hours in huge emotion. I talked it through with a deeply trusted friend of mine to get their perspective. And I said, listen, here's what's happening. And it worked out beautifully. She and I were on a drive out to the mountains. We're going to go to the mountains for a day. And I'm sharing my story with her. And as I share the first bit, and I'm like, okay, here's what's happening with my car. And, here's the stuff I'm considering. And she's like, Amy, I don't think now's a smart time for you to buy a new car. Like, I understand where your thinking is, but I actually think you need to stay with it. And I'm like, okay, but hang on, there's more. She's like, okay. So then I shared more of what had been happening and what had been coming forward as I was working through my manifestation course and doing some deep manifestation and journaling. And then she's like, oh my God, Amy. She looked at me and she goes, you have to buy that car. You have to. That is what you're meant to do right now. And I'm like, but it's so illogical. She's like, I know. But look, she's like, I could see how your body is reacting. And that tells me more than anything that you could ever say. She's like, you need to get the new car. And I'm like, okay. So now I have a choice. I could now take this insight from my friend and go into thinking mode and start thinking through all the things. Historically, this is my action. I would go through and think, okay, so the new car costs this much and I'm making this much and the insurance would probably be about this much. And then I still have to sell my car and like maybe I could get this much and like what's that all going to work out to? And like start trying to think all the money things through. It is a new thing that I'm still practicing to not go down that road because that's where I get myself all tied up in knots and instead sit in the question and just listen. And it's hard. If you've tried doing it, you will be nodding at me right now going, yeah, it's fucking hard, Amy. I don't know. Every time I try to do that, I feel like I'm failing. Here's the thing. You can't fail. That's the beautiful thing. You don't have to sit in that space forever. You don't even have to sit in that space for 5 minutes. In fact, I've done some times where I'm like, okay, I want to do this thing, but I just feel like I'm going to get so distracted. I'm going to set a timer for 1 minute. And for 1 minute, I'm just going to pause. Or I'm just going to do this breathing exercise. Or I'm just going to do this visualization. Or whatever. For 1 minute. I can do anything for 1 minute. Right? So I'm sitting with it. Finish the day in the mountains. The mountains is my happy place. That's why I started Mountain Girl Boutique. I just love it. And as I completed the day and was going to bed, I'm like, I think that's the right move. I feel a yes. And it's calm. It's a very calm yes. Your intuition is very calm. So the next day, call. Wouldn't you know, the one model that they had Sold. Literally in 3 hours since I left the dealership. Cool. That's all right. Somebody else needed it more than me. Is there another one coming? There is. Won't be here for 2.5 months. Oh, I'm okay with that too. Okay, cool. What's it going to take for me to come in and get that sorted out? It was so chill. It was like unbelievable. I remember finishing, sitting in the financing office and finishing and going, wait, that's all? Isn't there supposed to be more? And he looks at me and goes, did you want me to make it more stressful? I'm like, no. I just thought it would be more. And I walked out and I had this sense come through me of, Amy, this is where you're leveling up to. These things are easy. They don't have to be hard. Now, why did I tell you this very long story about my buying a new car? Because in the moment that I finished the test drive and went, this car feels right. I don't know why. And it definitely doesn't hit all the things that I was thinking it would. But there's something about it that I can't quite shake. I had a few options. I could talk it through with my boyfriend. And I adore the hell out of him. But he isn't in expansion thinking right now. So I know that if I talk it through with him, his restrictive thinking is going to be what's going to be the story. And I'm going to get lost in that. And I look at it and go, I've been working real hard to release that from my life. So I actually don't want to go into that space. I could talk my way through that very easily. So I don't need help with that. I actually need to talk with someone who can be expansive with me, who knows my deepest desires and like knows what I'm going after and understands it. You know, someone who's done their own work in that area and understands it and is willing to go through and can hold space for the emotion and, most importantly, isn't tied into it. Like the outcome isn't tied to their life, if that makes sense. It's a very different experience when you actually talk with someone who can hold space for you to move through things and can listen to you and can hold your deepest desires in front of them so that they can help you keep looking at those and go, this is where you want to go. And how are you going to get there? And what can I do to help you get there? When we're trying to go after things we've never done before, we are always going to find people who will tell us we can't do it. It's illogical. It's stupid. It's bad timing. It's, selfish. It's you've heard it. If you've ever thought of trying to do a thing and you shared your dream with somebody, you will have had somebody put you down and say that's not the right thing to do. What I'm saying is, think about where you're going. Be intentional with who you share those things with. Don't just share them with everybody, right? I've literally told 4 people, I think, that I work with that I have a new car coming. I'm still processing it. It's still, and I'm sitting in my current car as I'm recording this. So say hello to my current car, which will be sold at some point, which I'm also not panicking about. Could be freaking out right now that, I haven't sold the car yet. Well, I'm not in a hurry. I got time. And the right buyer is going to align with me and buy the car for a price that I'm happy with and that they're happy with. That's mutually beneficial for everybody. But I'm not sharing it with everybody. And the reason for that is I'm still in processing for this. I'm not ready to share this with the masses. Now, that sounds a little counterintuitive because here I am talking about it in the podcast, but I'm trusting you. And I want to bring this example forward because I think it can help. I hope it can help a lot to give you some perspective. When you're doing something big or you want to do something big, there are so many outcomes that you can look at. But if we just talk about 3 of them. So one outcome, you do nothing at all. Whatever. Okay, that's one outcome. The second outcome, you decide to go after it and you fail horribly. And the third outcome is you decide to go after it and it actually kind of works out, might even really work out. Those are 3 outcomes that you'll never know how those play out and what the impact is. But if you bring your dream You bring that thing that you want to try, that thing that doesn't necessarily make logical sense, to someone who is a squisher or a stealer of dreams. They will take the wind out of your sails every time. And it's not to say that they're bad people or there's anything wrong with them. Pay attention to the people in your life and the energy that they're in. If they're not creating some energy that you actively want to have in your life as well, then that's probably not where you want to take your dreams to. When I speak with my friend, and I spoke with her about this on our drive to the mountains, I knew I could bring it to her because I knew that she's been doing the work. And we've been talking about all the stuff that I've been learning about manifestation course all summer long. She's also done a whole different program that was related to weight loss, and a lot of it aligned. And I'm like, you get it. I know that you get it. And she knows what I'm after. And she knows how I've been really leaning into it and learning and being open to understanding why I think certain ways or do certain things, right? So I'm going to bring it to her instead of bringing it to someone who, through no fault of their own, cannot sit in the space of expansion with me. As an aside, you might have just heard sirens go by, and it's caused me to completely lose my train of thought once I finished, because it's just that kind of a day today. So all I want to leave you with is this: seek counsel with people who are able to align you in the direction that you most want to go, which I feel like I need to put a little caveat here. That does not mean go find yes people, okay? It's very different things. When my friend called me yesterday and wanted to run the idea by me, I'm not at all afraid of taking risks. I think risks are just a natural part of life. The minute you open your eyes in the morning, you're already taking a risk. You have no idea what's going to happen in the day, right? I don't think it's smart to be risk adverse because you live a very small life if you do. But I also don't think that you run after everything with your eyes wide open or your eyes wide shut. What am I trying to say? You need to pay attention to what you're doing is really what I'm trying to say. So, don't go to yes people who are just going to tell you the thing that you want to hear. That's not going to serve you. That is not going to help you clear through the muck. They're not necessarily a squisher or a stealer, but they're also not serving you. Also, don't go to people, as I mentioned, who are in restrictive thinking. If you're trying to expand your life, right? Those people are not, you can't expect them to hold space and understand and think with you in the space that you want to. So find a way to align with people, bring them into your life. If you don't have someone in your life right now who can hold that space for growth for you, who's been doing their own work and understands not only the value in it, but how hard it can be sometimes. If you don't have somebody like that in your life, see where you can find sources to still be in that energy. So I've mentioned Manifestation Babe many times on this podcast. She is somebody who I've never met. I hope one day that I will get to meet her. Hope I get to hang out with her because I feel like that'd be a pretty fun day. But I spend a lot of time with her. And you're like, Amy, that doesn't make any sense. If you don't actually ever get to see her, how do you spend a lot of time with her? I listen to her podcast. I'm working my way through her course again. I, of course, am now part of a few Facebook groups because I'm in, some of the courses with her. So I'm in some of her Facebook groups. I follow her on Instagram. I signed up for her text messages, which have been so unbelievably on point this week. Oh my goodness. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm just like, is she like peering into my soul? How does she know that this is exactly what I needed to hear right now? I don't understand. Doesn't matter. I don't need to understand. The point is, I'm able to learn from her and listen to her and be in her energy of expansion. So until I crafted people into my physical reality who were in that way of thinking, I had to find it elsewhere. And I had to just believe that even if it took a while for that person to arrive in my life, or for the people who are in my life already to level up in the same direction, I had to believe that I could at least hold the space for myself and bask in the energy of someone else who's going in that direction. So if you don't have people in your physical reality right now that can hold that space for you, look for folks outside of it. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's this podcast. I have no idea. Maybe it's my Instagram that I'm really terrible at updating. Oh, social media, you all, is just not my thing. I'm trying really hard. It's just not the top of my list. Speaking of very random thoughts and things that are not on the top of my list, but that I'm trying very hard on, I am learning all things Google Sheets. If anybody here listening has ever done Google Sheets work and had to make a pivot table, you may understand my learning curve right now, as I'm trying to understand how to pull many points of data together in such a way that I can understand what the fork my team is doing, what our performance looks like month over month, and how I can hold my reports accountable for their team's performance, but also help coach them, right? So yeah, random thoughts with Amy on a Wednesday afternoon. Had to think about that. It's only Wednesday, y'all. The last 2 weeks have gone by so unbelievably fast, and this week I'm just like, what are we on, slow-mo? What's happening right now? All right, before I get too far more into the rambling, which is definitely the direction I'm going into, I trust that something of today has landed with you, and if nobody else in your life has told you this, if there's nobody that you have that can hold the space for you, I want you to hear me very clearly. Anything you want, anything you dream, anything you desire in your life is 100% possible for you. And here's one more last thought to blow your mind. The thing that you want wants to be in your life. That'll be another podcast episode. But you got this. You can do this. You can do hard things. I 100% believe in you. Even if we have never met, even if we never will meet, if you are willing to believe in yourself and you're willing to do the work and you're willing to allow the universe to co-create with you, there is not a single fucking thing that you cannot do, be or have. You got this.